Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live on In Between Media. We are sports, we are lifestyle, and everything in between. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the whole damn channel, and jingle that bell for notifications. We have had 2 weeks in a row of birdie fest. Birdies everywhere, except for Sunday last week, which was a little bit windy and cold. Either way, we're going to the Quad Cities in Illinois, right on the Iowa border, for the John Deere Classic. You better stay tuned for this one. It's going to be fun. We're going to get right into it here. Well, Connor, we have reached another stop along the birdie train in Moline, Illinois. Is that where it is?
It's in Illinois.
It's in rural Illinois.
Silvis.
Take another drive on my big green tractor.
We should just talk in country accents the whole show. It'd be awesome.
Oh, that's easy. Where I come from, we all talk like this.
We got some folks in the chat already. This is great. We're already starting off good on a not very exciting golf tournament. So
pour one out for our baby angel Akshay Bhatia. 2 straight weeks of heartbreak. Well, guess what? He's 22 and he's still really good at golf. And I think the couple weeks off he's going to take are going to be really good for him. Regroup. Hey, he was pretty upfront about it. Pressure was on. He got nervous. His birdie putt that was big, the big sweeper, left it way short. That was the one that killed him. You can't be leaving yourself a 4-footer knee knocker left to right break for par to force a playoff. He was hoping that either the birdie putt was going to go in or that he had a tap in to force the playoff. He got neither, got in his head, and you yank a putt like that, it's over. It's curtains for Akshay Bhatia, and it led a guy who we were on in DFS, but not necessarily betting wise, Cam Davis. Congrats on his second PGA Tour win, both in Detroit. Pour one out for Akshay though. Subscribe to the whole damn channel. Seth says, yeah, that's what I said, verbatim.
Akshay will come back stronger though. Like, dude, I think
he's a mentally strong dude.
Yeah, and I think he needs a couple of bumps and bruises. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like he's either like right there winning or he's like out of contention completely. So I think the more he gets in the hunt, the better he's going to get. And yeah, no, he's.
I'm gonna miss him at the Barracuda in a couple of weeks because he's going to be at the Open.
Are you going to the Barracuda?
I'm thinking about it. Depends on how my weekend stacks up. Last year was nice because I pretty much had a whole day to myself and brought Addison up the hill. She wanted to come with me for some reason, and so it was really hot, even up in the mountains there, where usually we go to escape the heat. It was in the mid 90s and at elevation that day, and it was hard because it's like you get a lot of sun up at that elevation. It heats you up quick.
Yeah, well, I would, if I were you, I'd be doing anything to get out of that heat. Because what are you, 105 degrees?
110 today.
Whew.
And this is the first of 6 days in a row of 110 plus. Tomorrow's going to be 113. And so I did tease the show. I think we have fewer viewers than ever before because I did threaten to be shirtless. All I had to do, unfortunately, for the people who tuned in to see me shirtless was turn the ceiling fan up to a higher setting. It's not quite on tornado helicopter mode, but it's the one right below that.
We got a lot of show left, though. We get the juices flowing. That shirt might be coming off.
And it's 5:30 Pacific. It's peak heat right now. I think it just ticked up to 111. It's a dry heat. That's it. That's the consolation prize. Is I'm not sweating. I'm just dying from the inside out. Like if I put myself in a giant air fryer, it would take a huge air fryer, but this is what it feels like.
I think you and I both should do a show with no shirts on. I think we got to give the people what they want.
Tim definitely wants it. We never doubted Tim Burke wanting a shirtless show.
I did not read that comment before I said what I said, so starting to share a brain with people apparently.
Yeah, and we don't want to get the Tims mixed up. We don't want to. I mean, Tim Burke obviously wants it to happen, but Tim Welch, we need to get you in the chat. He wants Akshay to get his glasses prescription checked at the optometrist soon. Good advice. Maybe that's something. But yeah,
get a shorter broomstick. I don't know.
Conor does not like to take off his shirt. Yeah, you say that before he's got some drinks in him, Chelsea.
I will. I mean,
it's easy to fool people though, because when you take off your shirt, you're still wearing a sweater.
That's true. And like I was going to tell you, when you're a physical specimen, much like myself, I know you appreciate the troubles that come with that. I can't just be roaming around town with my shirt off. Like
we're going to need a bigger Bunsen burner for this specimen.
Possibly the biggest. I just keep gaining weight, and so like
I found all the weight that all of you lost combined.
My pool gets smaller every time my fat ass gets in it. So
yeah, I think they call that displacement.
Less water, more surface area.
Yeah. Well, are you drinking anything?
I'm going with a little tried and trusted standby.
Ooh, that actually sounds good right over here in this general direction. The Rocky Mountain cold filtered silver bullets. I am actually going to go with a bottle I just scored at the local liquor store. Oh. They had some Blanton's single barrel. I got the letter B because I don't have that letter yet, and I do one day, maybe in 20 years, when I have all the staves collected, get the big plank from them for free after you spend over $1,000 on all the bottles of Blanton's to get the collection.
Security escort you out when you have a bottle of Blanton's in California? Do you have like 2 security guards that like walk you to your car? Or...
No, because right next to it was a Pappy Van Winkle, and they cared a lot more about that than a little bit of Blanton's. And they were selling the Pappy for like a couple thousand, so it was something we compromised. They put it in a black plastic bag, so it was incognito.
Back when you used to purchase those videos.
I don't know what you're talking about, Connor. Enlighten us.
Oh, I have to return some videotapes, Bo.
Be kind, rewind.
Dee Dee with an updated name.
Yeah, Dee Dee placed an order with Big Time Flavor Co. this last week, and I hope she's enjoying it. Thanks for the business, Dee Dee. We appreciate you.
How could you not enjoy it? Your stuff, I don't give you enough credit for how good your stuff is. Everybody should
drop the link. Do you remember the website?
No, I know the website. I have it saved on my phone. Why don't you just have the link underneath your name?
I should. BigTimeFlavor.co. There you go, right there. For everyone in the chat, you can go to that website. New product just dropped. My collaboration with my friend Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, top 10 middleweight in the world in UFC. He's going to be fighting at the Sphere this September for Mexican Independence Day, first ever sporting event at the Las Vegas Sphere. Ooh, Chelsea knows what's up. But yeah, I'm going to be going to the Sphere to watch Anthony fight Pereira, not the Pereira that just head kicked a dude into oblivion, but the other Brazilian Pereira in the middleweight division. And Fluffy's going to choke him out. I already posted some smack talk on Instagram. In Portuguese, I said, "Go to sleep, Pereira."
I know it's not a UFC show, but with the disappointment of the McGregor Chandler fight getting canceled, I thought this card was going to be a bust. There were some really good fights on it.
It was strong. Yeah, so I am collaborating with Fluffy on a new seasoning blend called El Cock Rub. And yes, it is everything it implies. It is a poultry seasoning because Fluffy famously has a pet rooster named El Cock. Pretty literal. And he has his own gold chain, and he has cowboy boots, and he has a sombrero. And so we're paying homage to the chicken himself, and it's a really good blend. It's kind of like tahine meets like Montreal chicken seasoning. So it's like really versatile. You can cook any kind of poultry in it. And I actually added El Cock Rub to Pico de Gallo, and it was incredible.
I need to get some of that, and I need to get some of your green envy.
Yes. Ooh, that's a fan favorite already.
Well, now that we've done an infomercial for how good your
let's I mean, the John Deere Classic is great. I like watching it. It's a fun tournament to watch on TV, especially for nerds like us that have been talking up these lesser known names for a couple of years. You're going to want to stay tuned after this drop for Caddy Notes with Conor Coughlin at TPC Deere Run. All right, Conor, TPC Deere Run. Take it away.
John Deere Classic, TPC Deere Run in Silvis, Illinois. Depending, it could be Silvis, it could be some other rural city, but it's a par 71, 7,289 yards, bent grass fairways, bent grass greens. I think we said this a lot last year. It's a pretty unremarkable course with a fairly unremarkable field. I would expect a lot of volatility, though. Random names popping up this week. Course itself is pretty damn gettable. A lot like last week. Some of the same skill set applies. Should be a birdie fest, barring any kind of extreme weather changes. If there's anything to be aware of, it's a lot of tree line fairways. So a little control off the tee would be preferable, but hasn't typically been a make or break. The greens are pretty damn big, but they do have a lot of challenging slopes and undulation to them, which is possibly it's really like maybe the only defense is the elevation changes, the slopes, and the undulations throughout this course. But pretty damn easy course. I think it's a pretty boring course.
Yeah,
but it is neat from the standpoint that we get to see a lot of names that are going to be competing. So we're going to get 4 rounds out of guys that we talk about every week, but are a little less known, and we'll talk about some of them in a little bit. A couple nice things with the weather. The weather, this whole part of the world has been pretty moist lately, so the course is going to be pretty soft and receptive. We're going to keep getting a little moisture throughout the week. Wind is going to be around, but it's sustained around 10 miles an hour every day. You're going to have some gusts in the low mid teens over the weekend, but shouldn't be anything super crazy. We've definitely had worse conditions over the last 8 weeks or so. So that's all I really know about.
I'm pretty sure, not to interrupt you. Actually, I'm going to interrupt you.
No, please interrupt me.
Dee, I believe with this investment in the show, wants the shirts to come off. Dee, maybe confirm that. Blink twice if you're in danger. Well, at least you got the hat backwards. We're matching now.
We're getting going.
Go, Dee. It's your
Thank
birthday.
you, Dee.
So yeah, I do think this course is right for the taking, especially if the weather cooperates with a little bit of moisture, especially on Thursday. The weather last week played favorites with birdie making up until Sunday when the temperatures plummeted and the wind picked up. It made those par 5s unreachable. I don't think that's going to happen this week. I think you're going to see some warm weather with some thunderstorms that can soften the course out even more. This could be like a few years ago when the winning score is 27 under. I think Michael Kim did that in 2019. Yes, Royal, that is the best idea. Super donators putting the super stickers in the chat, donating to offset DD's investment in our stripping tonight. It is really hot here, and I'm sure in even South Dakota it's at least 65 degrees.
You're not too far off, actually.
I'm pretty good at this. Overall, I think that we're going to see some really good scoring this week, and this field is very talented. And don't take it, even though Patrick Cantlay dropped out, even though Sungjae Im is the betting favorite that we're going to start by talking about in a little bit. There's so much talent in this field that people are going to find out about, and you might as well throw a little bit of money on them this week. Don't risk too much, but I think if you threw a couple shekels on some of these lesser known names with really strong betting odds, you can make a really good chunk of change this week, following our advice. With that being said, let's bet on some golf, Conor.
I'd love to.
You'd love to? Let's twirl some clubs. So did you see it last week? I posted on Twitter. I posted my own club twirl. I went to the range. I had a really really rough day, and I was just stressed out. It was a crazy day, and all I wanted to do once the sun kind of set a little bit and cooled off, I went to the driving range and I got a large bucket of balls and I just let the big dog eat. And so if you want to see a
And
real
after
club
that, you
twirl,
get some golf balls.
yeah. Yeah, I had to. You had a carbo load before you get the large bucket. But yeah, I did pretty much. I just swung as hard as I could, and I was hitting the ball pretty well, honestly. And that's as soon as I play on the real course, that's not going to be anywhere to be found.
Yeah, we don't talk about the show at all beforehand, but we're always there to critique each other's golf swings. So
But I appreciate it. Like one of my best friends is a teaching pro up in NorCal here, back in our hometown, and he was like, "Hey, I need to get some of your stuff from the website," and I was like, "I'll trade you for some lessons." He goes, "Dude, you're the captain when I was a freshman in high school," and I was like, "Yeah, and you're way better than me now. You're teaching golf now, and just because you weren't good as a 14-year-old doesn't mean I'm any good as a 37-year-old. It's like it's a long time in between there, and I need your help." And he goes, "You got a deal."
dude, I swear to God, I was infinitely better as a young person. Like the older I get, everything frickin' hurts. Like
Well,
we did.
you're way older than me, so I get it. I mean, it's a cautionary tale when I listen to you talk about it.
Sunday I did 18 in the sim, and then took an hour break. We played some golden tee, and then had a tee time, and at real golf played another 18. Let
Yeah,
me tell you how
don't
good I
don't
was.
let Connor challenge you to a game of Golden Tee. He will smoke you.
I am pretty good.
You're really freaking good at Golden Tee. If only you carried that over to the golf course.
It was the Golden Tee World Championship this past weekend. I was not in attendance, but
Yeah, spared them.
I spared them. I let somebody else win the 35 grand this year.
So I'm interested in Sungjae Im at 16-1. I don't know about you, but Sungjae Im on this golf course in this field is a very strong pick.
Yeah, so in transparency, I'm not betting him, but I see what you're talking about. So I'll let you kind of talk about him because I do think that I think he's worth somebody betting on for sure.
Yeah, so he's third in my model. He's top 10 in 5 categories, including birdies or better gained, total strokes gained, par 5 scoring, and par 4 scoring, as well as his short game and putting are very good. His this year has been kind of rough off the tee, but I don't think that's that penal this year. I really think that he's just got a really strong all around game and making birdies on easy courses. He has played very poorly on tough golf courses this year, but on the easy ones or the moderately difficult ones, he's done excellent this year. And that's kind of what I'm looking at is if I filter by easy scoring relative to par, Sungjae Im vaults to the top. And so no, I will not play him at the Open Championship when it's windy, but in Illinois, the John Deere Classic where he's the betting favorite, 16-1, that's pretty strong. I'll take that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm seeing the same stuff you are, and for me it just came down to I was only going to play one of the favorites. So for me, it's Sepp Straka.
The defending champion.
Defending champion and also in excellent form. I think over his last 8 starts, he's got 4 top 10s and 3 of those are top 5s. So
yeah,
he's playing really good golf all year long. Really,
I mean, he's got 2 over on Thursday last year and still won. That's how hot he was on the last 3 rounds.
Well, and I think he gained like 14 and a half strokes to the field at this course last year. So
yeah, after shooting 2 over on Thursday.
Yeah, so
like 64, 63, 62, something like that. It's insane.
I can't argue against either one of them. Like I said, just for me, I took a little bit of course history and a little bit of recent form bias, and that's why I landed on Straka. But I was very very close to Sungjae, so I think both are great bets.
So there's a couple guys at that 20 to 30 number that I'm interested in. Maybe not for betting, but definitely for DFS. The first one is the guy who came up runner-up alongside Akshay and others last week, Aaron Rai. I was off him last week, but he looked impressive. This is a very similar type golf course. He's playing hot. I think if he can get his approach game in order, which looked pretty good last week, I think Aaron Rai is hot enough at 20-1 to kind of keep an eye on. I think if that slips a little bit to 25, I'm all over it.
Yeah, Aaron Rai rated out number one overall for me, and I
Yeah,
think a fair amount of that's recency bias, not recency
for sure.
bias, but recent form.
Yeah,
I think the thing that I'm still wavering on Aaron Rai with is that putting is going to regress at some point, and when it
yeah.
does, he's like a
He's
polar
he's
opposite
still
putter.
92nd in this field in putting. It's a pretty good red flag. His short game pretty much non-existent. 92nd putting, 91st in around the green. He's gonna have to get it done off the tee, which he has done. He's number 2 on approach and number 1 in good drives gained, and that's been serving him well the last few weeks.
And to that point, I saw the same thing when I looked at it. But what was interesting was with the putter, he gained 4.8 last week at Rocket
That's
Mortgage.
great. That's
And
great.
if he had putted his baseline, though, which is usually right around flat, he probably would have finished just outside the top 10. So,
I know Tim's imagining where that third glove would go. He also wears iron cover. He uses iron covers because his dad always taught him to take care of his equipment. So I don't hate Aaron Rai. I just usually don't want him to win when I don't bet on him, and I have all the other guys in the top 5 as bets. So I was rooting hard against Aaron Rai last week, but this week I'm rooting for him.
yeah, in Aaron Rai, I mean, I think a lot of the people that are watching right now have watched us week on week on week. Aaron Rai has been in and out of the rotation pretty much all season. So
Yeah.
I think this is a course, though, much like last week. If you are going to bet Aaron Rai, this is probably going to be your last chance to do it this year, where he actually has a shot at winning. So
That's true.
I would probably take the 20-1 number.
Yeah, I'm playing him in my one and done. So that's last chance, and I burned everybody else. So. I really, really, really like a couple guys in this next tier, but I know you have a couple in between. Fire away, Connor.
So in the 30 range is where I go to next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at JT Poston, and I'm looking at Nick
Uh,
Dunlap.
yeah, Poston, former champion of this event. Number 6 in my model. Excellent choice, Connor. You're so smart.
I kind of figured you might be on one or both of those guys.
I'm usually the one on Dunlap, and I'm not off of Dunlap this week. He's a very strong exposure play in DFS for me. But let me know what you're seeing with Dunlap because I'm very interested.
Yeah, so with Dunlap, the thing that I really looked at was if you look at Rocket Mortgage, and if we're going to keep saying that it's a similar setup,
Mm-hmm.
he gained 8.3 strokes last week to the field, and that was
That's good.
yeah, it's not bad,
It
and
seems good.
so looking at that, looking at some of the same guys in the field, and then looking at his birdie making prowess, so he's 5th in this field over the last 24 rounds for birdie or better rate,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of crazy, and you're going to need a lot of birdies here. One thing that Dunlap has kind of shown us this year is that he can get hot and he can go low.
Mm-hmm.
So at 35-1, I don't think that he has any real like marked like difference in skill set from the guys up top. Like these are all kind of a very similar player that we're just needing them to stay or get hot. And
Yeah.
Dunlap can definitely do that.
Yeah, and he's a little bit down the ways for me because of how I filter it. But one thing he is strong at is wedge play. Like if you have a course that has a lot of wedge approach game, like this one, TPC Deere Run's going to put a wedge, gap wedge, or sand wedge in your hand on approach on 3/4 of these holes, and that tells me that I want a guy who has good proximity in that shortest 2 buckets from 75 to 100 and 100 to 125. Those 2 buckets got the heaviest amount of weight in my model, and he's number 12 in that category on approach. That's going to lend to making a ton of birdies. If you're close with your wedges, you're going to score on this golf course. And Nick Dunlap's got a ton of talent.
So I talked about Dunlap. I'll let you talk about Poston if you want to.
He's just an outstanding putter. This guy gets hot. Birdie making machine, kills par 5s, gains strokes on this field, number 5 in total strokes gained on easy golf courses. It just seems like he puts himself in a lot of scoring chances because he's really good off the tees, accurate. He's good on approach. He's not great on approach, but this guy doesn't have to be as close as the field because he makes putts. This guy puts the lights out. The postman delivers. And he won this tournament 2 years ago, 35-1 for a former champion of this event in a field that's greatly weakened compared to what it has been. JT Poston is a steal at 35-1.
You want to hear my one of my favorite bets for the week?
Do it.
So Luke Clanton, 45-1.
Amateur. Yep.
Dude, this guy is
He's pretty damn good.
seriously.
Was he 18 or 19, 22? He's super young.
He's a junior at FSU. He just came off a season down there where he set the university's single season lowest scoring average at 69.3. If you go to his page on their website, it's like a page and a half of like accolades and awards and like, dude, the guy is stupid good. He's coming off a 10th place last week at Rocket Mortgage. And he is somebody, again, who just can get really, really hot, make a lot of birdies. So you can read about him in the article where I wrote him up. But yeah, Luke Clanton, I think people are going to look at that 45-1 number and go, who the hell is this guy? And
all he had to do was watch last week, and this kid was hot.
And he's been hot. He finished 41st at the U.S. Open. Like I said, he finished 10th at Rocket Mortgage last week.
All these things are true. And as we go down the board, there's some even better values on, I think, even better golfers. I mean, what's going on with this board is I'm not going to be aggressive with any of my bets, but I'm going to spread them out pretty evenly. What is going on with putting guys like Michael Thorbjornsen at 75-1? We have former champion Michael Kim at 100-1. We'll talk about him in a little bit later. But Patrick Rogers, red hot Patrick Rogers, 55-1 this week. What is going on?
I don't know. There's a lot of value down here in this like 35.
Ryo Hisatsune. Ryo, our guy. Ryo Hisatsune, number one in my model. Number one by a long shot in my model is 65-1.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, if you look at this range, like 55 to like basically 80. I mean, Ryo, Bo Hostler, who's got
Hostler's number 4 in my model.
Ben Griffin, who just plays incredibly consistent golf. Adam Shank, who's done well here.
Coles is 120. Chan Kim's 120.
Damon's in here. And
the value is so crazy right now.
Yeah, you got Neil Shipley in here, who actually I think
that was my moneymaker last week. Thank you, Neil Shipley. You're my boy. First professional event. I knew you had it in you. Top 10 in his first finish.
But I think in this range, if I got to narrow it down to a couple guys, it's probably Ryo, and then honestly it's probably Shipley for me. He's playing great golf, and I think he's going to break out sooner than later. I don't know if he'll win this week, but I might get a top 10, top 20 bet going as well.
That's what I did last week, and it was money in the bank because he was 250 to 150-1 outright, but I got his top 20 at plus 450, and his top 10 was plus 950. Cash them both.
Yeah, these young guns, man. Some of these young guns that are coming on tour are serious.
And in a field like this, the talent is not much different than what you'll see at the top of this betting slip. Like Sungjae Im, he's more polished. He's been on tour for 4 or 5 years. Aaron Rai, these guys, they have prior wins on the PGA Tour. Doesn't mean they're better than these young guns. It just means they have more experience on the course, and that doesn't always relate to winning.
Well, and I think too, with some of the guys at the top of this board, I mean, these guys are not immune. They're not the super elite of the PGA.
No, they're not.
There's nothing that says that Sungjae can't go out and miss the cut this week. I mean, he's done it a few times this year. So, I think that there's some merit in taking a little more buckshot approach throughout the betting board, just because a lot of these guys are pretty long odds. I mean, can do it.
Yeah. You got guys out here like Adam Long, who I'm betting on at 400-1.
Should we talk about Thorbjornsen for a second before we get down to the longer shots?
It was so painful to watch him miss the cut by one shot because I think he would have you give him a chance to push down the stretch on course that was that gettable last week. I think he would have been in the hunt after Saturday if he had made the cut, but he missed it by one shot.
What did we bet him at last week? Was it 75 or 80?
No, it was lower. It was because he was his first. Yeah, I think it was 60, but I think it slipped to 75.
I think at 100-1, you go back to him. I'm not sold that he can do it yet. Like I think he's got some stuff he needs to work out, but we bet him. We bet him at shorter odds last week, and this field is worse and the course is easier.
Right.
100 to 1.
He opened at 75, so he's going the right direction for us to bet on him.
I think 100 to 1's a good number. I mean, I may jump off and get it as soon as we're done because I definitely think it's the same dude we think it is. I think he can win.
Oh, yeah.
So 100 to 1, I'd go lock that in if you got the option to.
Yeah, so he is 75 on my book, but that didn't update recently. So he's number 9 around the green, number 17 in the short approach bucket, and 32nd in this field in birdies or better gained. That's good enough for me. Good enough for me, especially since he hasn't played his best this year.
I just refreshed DK. DK's got him at 100, so.
Ooh. Yeah, we're on him.
Moving on.
What do you think? Any deep shots that you got? I have Adam Long at 400, Austin Cook at 500 to 1. I'm interested in that.
It's a good number on Austin Cook. I could, other than the potential, I couldn't give you a whole lot of reason to make the bet. But at 500 to 1, he is a really good player that could potentially.
And
you've
done a lot of dumber things with
$5. No, that's a good $5 bet. The guy that I've got down there is the same guy I went to last week in Kelly Craft at 250 to 1.
Yep.
Still rating out well. Didn't necessarily do what we wanted last week, but has a really, really solid golf game. Just doesn't have as many reps as a lot of these guys this season. So 250 to 1 on Kelly Craft. Like I said, it's the right game for the course. We just needed to put it together this week.
Yep. He's in my pool. He's in the pool. Let's see who else is in the pool. I think that's it. Sam Ryder, it's 170 to 1. That's dumb. There's so many values that if you just write down some of the names and just throw a couple bucks on them, I think you're going to be sitting pretty because one of these guys is going to do something this week. Probably more than one of them are going to do plenty this week to cash in placement bets at the very least. Connor, what do you think? We do some DFSing? You got your leverage board coming out?
Oh, yeah. She is ready to go.
And you did defeat me last week in DFS. It was a rough week for me because I had a couple MCs, including Thor Bjornsson.
You had Zalatoris as WD, and I knock on wood and say a quick prayer for him. I hope that back is not as serious as maybe the last time it went
He
out.
wasn't playing well anyway, so it might have just been that.
Yep. Nope. And we had and then in our group one, we got taken down by one of our listeners again. So we got to get right.
Yeah, we will do better, and we will destroy you. It's a promise.
Coming hard.
Promise.
The club is well. This would be a wrestling class.
All right, Connor, who's got the ownership at the top?
Patrick Cantlay is your leverage play. Play him. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, very low owned. Not sure why.
It's Spieth, man, and I just don't know if I can do it at 10-5.
Oh, man. Yeah, Spieth is a whopping 79th in this field in my model. That's not good. You know why? Because he's dead effing last in approach. He's sort of dead last in good drives gained. He's towards the bottom in birdies or better. And the only thing that he has a green sticker next to his name is what we always expect him to have one for, and that's around the green. So, yeah, don't play Jordan Spieth. He's terrible this year.
No, and then the next leverage play is Mav McNeely, and dude, like I just don't know if
that's a nice leverage play though. He's a terrible approach player though.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Is like you really got to have a good game here, like because you can't give strokes back anywhere.
And this course reveals who's hot. Like if you come into this course not hot enough, you're not going to contend.
Yeah, I'm probably going to regret this, but I'm probably going to pass on Mav too this week. Like he's just not there. In my opinion. So, Denny's another one though. Like the putting, world class, but
approach not so much.
So I think at the top this week I'm eating chalk, and that being said, I'm gonna stick to what we said in the betting section. It's gonna be Sepp, Sungjae, and Aaron Rai for me up top.
Okay.
And I'll find ways to get different down below.
You're so different. All right, as we go down this list here, we have Davis Thompson is interesting. He should be doing better. He got runner-up last week, almost snuck into a win with the low round on Sunday. I kind of like him. He's a pretty damn good approach player in one bucket and a really bad one in another. Total strokes gained ninth in total strokes gained. He's got some merit here at 9,600 in my opinion.
Yeah, I have him third in this field from tee to green, strokes gained tee to green, and I have him third in this field for birdie or better rate. So
that's great.
And I liked him last week. He was in my top 10 in my player pool. So I think in lineups where I'm building a little more balanced, I'll probably actually start quite a few with Davis Thompson. I think he profiles really well for this course, just like he did last week. And it's hard to poke a lot of holes in his game when you're talking about a lesser field and an easier course. Like this sets up really nice for him.
All right, and we're both unanimous on Nick Dunlap, Kevin Yu, or Lucas Glover, or neither.
I'm taking another look at Kevin Yu. I think I'm putting too much faith in Kevin Yu. Every time I line up to play him, I get disappointed.
Yeah, he's a par 5 annihilator. Great driver of the golf ball, good at par 4s, but approach in the short yardage distances, and yes, dead fucking last at putting. That's not good. I
think when it comes to Kevin Yu and Lucas Glover, I go down to Luke Clanton at 86, and I go up to Nick Dunlap at 89. I think I'm skipping Kevin Yu and Lucas Glover here.
Same for me, man. What is going on? All right, Eric Cole.
Real short. We're just agreeing on everything.
I know. Eric Cole, Mark Hubbard, Seamus Power, Adam Svensson. Any of those guys interest you?
So the player and the results interest me with Hubbard, but not the price. Like he's too expensive to pay it back. Like he's finishing like
nothing remarkable in the stats either.
No, and he's finishing like top 30, top 50 every single week, which is great when he costs like $6,800.
Yeah, or even $7,900. It's fine. But 84 for Mark Hubbard. We love you, homeless hubs, but yeah.
Especially when you can get the upside of a Seamus Power at 8,300. You can get the upside with Adam Svensson at 8,200. I think I could just go down to one of those two guys. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's probably Seamus Power here. Adam Svensson, I think, is somehow, this is going to sound funny, but somehow more volatile than Seamus Power is. So
they're both like plutonium. Adam Svensson's dead to me, so I was gonna play the Irishman.
We got to get that. But I think that's kind of where I'm at. What are you thinking? Like in the low 8s, upper 7s? Because I think this is where I land. Kind of frequently based on how I'm building. So I've been going between Ben Griffin, Adam Schenk, and whether I'm going to roll the dice on Thorn Bjornsson again this week, which, by the way, he's only projected at 1.9%, which is kind of nice.
He does not have a tee time on my sheet. Is he still in this field?
I don't see him as a WD in the DraftKings app.
Yeah, that's because I don't have a tee time next to Taylor Montgomery either because he withdrew, and then Cam Davis also. I'm not seeing one for Thor Bjornsson. Maybe we'll have to double check there. But if Thor Bjornsson's playing at 7,700, I'm playing him. I'm also playing Griffin and Rogers above him. And Ryo Hisatsune is going to get a lot of my attention.
And I know it's a chalky play, but when we're getting into that Rio range, I love Andrew Novak this week. It's projected around 14%, but we've talked about Novak quite a few times, and this is probably one of the better setups we're going to see for him. Rates out 11th in this field. He's 18th in the proximity ranges we're looking at. He's 14th for overall strokes gained tee to green. And then the other thing I like for a guy at 7,500, he's 15th in this field for birdie or better rate, and he's 18th in this field for opportunity gain. So why I like those two stats in conjunction is if you're 18th in opportunities gained and you're converting at a rate of 15th in this field, you're making most of those opportunities you're getting. So,
yeah, I think I'm gonna skip your guy Novak, and I'm just gonna go heavy on Neil Shipley because I trust him more.
is that a head-to-head you want to take?
Yes, let's do it.
Novak versus Shipley?
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely. I'm confident.
One beer. I think right now we're even on the beer count.
Yeah. As we go down this board, some surprising names are getting value here. Our guy Alejandro Tosti, and our other guy Jake Knapp, and our other guy Dylan Woo.
Our Wu-Tang brother here is probably my guy in that range, I think, this week.
Yep.
I got him rating out 13th, and I got him rating out in the top 25 for pretty much all the scoring and approach metrics I looked at.
Seems good.
Yeah, so I think Dylon at 7,100 is a pretty good play.
I'm gonna go back a little bit into Justin Lauer. He's in my field for sure. And then,
can I interest you in some Chandler Phillips at 7,100?
Maybe not. I'm kind of off Phillips for now. I think I'd rather take the upside in the hot streak that Rico Hoey's on at the same price. Our Filipino brother Rico, he's a stone cold killer right now. He makes birdies in bunches. We saw his finishing stretch last week on Sunday. That was impressive. I'm gonna fire up Rico because I'd rather root for him, even though Chandler Phillips is an awesome dude. From what I'm filtering for, it's not pretty.
So I had to look a little bit because I was pretty heavy on Chandler Phillips last week. So I had to kind of tweak my numbers a little bit and rerun my model for last week against this course. And he popped up quite a bit for me again, even with a 67th place finish last week at Rocket Mortgage. And the things that I liked about him going into last week, he had a 12th and a 10th leading up to last week, Charles Schwab and RBC Canadian. And his approach game and his putting had been like out of control good, like gained an average of 3.8 strokes on approach and an average of 4.2 putts per tournament leading up to Rocket. So I think I'm going to go back to him just because the form's there, the talent's there. It's somebody we've played a few times. So I don't know. I want to believe. There's four guys in a row right below him that I'm going to believe in a little bit more. Chesson Hadley, your guy. Chesson Hadley. Chan Kim, your guy. Hayden Springer. And our guy, Bud Colley. Love all those guys.
Give me all those guys. What extreme values. They're all rating in the top 40 in my model. Hadley and Kim in the top 10 in my model. Love to see it. And I'm going to go skip down to our new guy. Run this by you here, but I'm a big fan of the Englishman, David Skins, this week.
He's one of my fades this week, actually.
Oh, what's his ownership looking like? Is it chalky? Because I can be persuaded to lower my exposure.
No, I would let you talk about him. Because I didn't do a whole lot of research on him. I'm pulling your rostership numbers right now on him. I know he's was
number 5 on approach, number 6 putting, number 23 on par 5s, and number 17 in birdies or better percentage. Seems good.
Yeah, and I think I ended up kind of fading out on him just because I think he was projected to be pretty high.
Yeah. Well, if it's too chalky, I will have him in the pool, but not as much. Your dog agrees with me.
Yeah, my dog is pissed. The kids next door just like threw some kind of baseball bat down the street and it just went clanging away.
Not happy.
David Skins is down in this region. This is pretty high rostership. He's projected around 8.1. So
yeah, I'll probably match the field. I'm not saying play the crap out of him because I have a lot of value plays down here that we mentioned, but I'll have some David Skins. I got to see him do something.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, we skipped right over him, but it's a Midwest tournament. Zach Johnson's always done really well here. Do you have any interest in Zach Johnson at 7K?
No, I'll never play Zach Johnson. Can't stand him. If he somehow does well, good for him, but I'm not playing him.
I'm just saying he does have a little bit better course history than the guys around him, so it might be worth a look.
Yeah, even if he was number 1 in my model, I wouldn't play him.
Like me
I
and
don't I don't like him. I don't think he's a good person.
that I will agree with you on. So getting down here a little ways, then Pearson Cootie,
Yes. Friend of
and
the show.
playing good golf, poised to make something happen. So I like that. And then Kelly Craft at 6,600. He's a little elevated in the projected because I think a lot of people are seeing the same stats we are.
Mhm.
I mean, it's still only 7%, but Kelly Craft at 6,600. If we get him through the cut, I think he's got a real shot to compete. So I think that's a
Absolutely.
pretty real play down here.
Interesting. Ben Cole's watch. Ben Cole's number 10 in my model at 6,600. I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, I don't hate going after a little Ben Coles.
I'm going after him hard this week. That's
Ooh.
a screaming value.
So far, you're going after
let's
him
go,
hard,
Ben.
and you're taking your shirt off. We're getting a little hot. We're gonna have to move the start time of this back. This is a family show, Bo.
Hey, I am the king of spice, for whatever you want that to mean.
But outside of those guys I just named and the ones you did, like you could definitely throw a couple long shots down here. But realistically, like the way that I'm building, I mean,
You don't have to venture down here very far.
I'm really not getting sub 7 very often. So
Yeah. There's a couple. I'm gonna throw Wesley Bryan out there. Reality star. Made the cut last week. Did pretty well. He makes birdies when he's on, and I think he's been enjoying some pretty good form lately. Joe Highsmith, the lefty. He's a name that's going to be. I like I said, this pool this week is going to be really big. I'm gonna build a lot of small dollar lineups just to see what sticks. I want to get some action with this week. I think the wider pool with some of these guys that are rating out well, something's bound to stick, and I'm thinking I'm going to have a pretty good chance to be optimal this week with some of these guys.
no, I like that. And this is one of those kind of fun weeks too, where if you do any dabbling in like modeling or you do any kind of independent research, like it's a good week to like go find that 25-cent tournament or the 50-cent tournament, max it out, build a bunch of lineups and see if you're getting your player pool right. Like it's just it's a fun kind of, I don't want to call it a throwaway week, but get a lot of lineups working within whatever your budget is.
This is the week to experiment for
Yeah.
sure.
Don't play beyond your means, but get a lot of action going just so, give you something to root for and get you a little more engaged on this one because it can be a bit of a.
Austin Cook, 6,100. That's the lowest one on my board.
All right, who's winning?
All right, I think you're going to see Aaron Rai pull it out at 24 under par.
I am going to go Sepp Straka at 20. I'll go 24 as well, and I think we get our second back-to-back guy in as many weeks. So,
excellent. First round leader.
I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with the kid. I think I'm gonna go Luke Clanton, first round leader.
I see your Luke Clanton, and I'll go with another kid, Nick Dunlap, first round leader.
Right above him in my list.
Well, you were right about the hat last week, where my pick was much better than yours. 96th in my model last week was Dylan Wu, and he played really well. So good for you, Dylan.
I like him better this week.
Shout out Southern Oregon. DD, yeah, we love you. We love you, DD. Tim is ready for the hat.
People come for us, but stay for the hat.
It's true. It's so true because the hat is hot. Only the hat could have a 96th ranked guy finish top 10. Suspense is killing me.
The hat has selected number 40 in each of our models. Number
OE40. Old English 40. Go right ahead with yours. Is yours bad?
It's not the course I'd want him on, I don't think. 40th in my model is Doug Gim.
He's higher in my model.
He's 18th in my mixed condition one, but he's 40th in the model I'm running.
Yeah. So my number 40 is Alex Smalley. I think Gim's going to do better.
I think Gim's got you this week.
Yeah. Alex Smalley has not been very good this year.
No, and Gim is in my player pool already, so that
Yeah.
like at least it's not.
Gim is much stronger, and I have Gim in like 18th in my model, so it's a lot stronger.
God, maybe I should look at Gim again. The hat that sometimes the hat is very insightful.
So Gim popped to the top for me because I weighted par 4 and par 5 scoring, and he just crushes that stuff.
See, I didn't do the individual 3, 4, 5 scoring this week. I focused more on like just the actual like.
Yeah, Gim is 21st in my model. Number 3 on approach. That's strong.
That's stronger than I have him. It's stronger than I would have thought. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. The hat's had some bold takes that have worked out. It's had some that have been real bad.
But we won't talk about those. All right. Well, next week is the Scottish Open from North Berwick, Scotland. The Scottish Open from Scotland, the sacred ground.
There it is.
You know what's good about Scotland? It's full of Scots.
Or scotch. Full of scotch.
They just call it whiskey over there.
That's true.
Whiskey without an E.
We will be here. We will be here with bells on.
Well, from Conor Coughlin.
And shirts. We'll probably have shirts on.
Yeah, no promises. I am Bo McBrayer. Join us next week for the Scottish Open. Live as always, Tuesday nights, 8:30 on In Between Media. Like this video, subscribe to the whole damn channel, and jingle that bell so you don't miss it when we go live. We'll see ya. Oh, I gotta hit the button.